They found a 20,000-year-old human warship. Then it woke up. 20,000 years. That was how long the ship had remained silent, hidden inside a shattered asteroid, drifting through one of the darkest regions of the galaxy. No signals, no power, no movement. Generation after generation, ships passed nearby without noticing it, until one ordinary mining expedition changed history forever. The crew of the cargo vessel Atlas 9 wasn't searching for treasure. They were looking for rare crystal deposits. Captain Rylan stood on the bridge studying the asteroid field. Anything valuable? The scanner officer shrugged. Mostly iron and frozen rock. Suddenly, a warning flashed across every screen. Unknown metal detected. Rylan frowned. "Show me." The asteroid slowly rotated. For a brief second, a perfectly straight metallic surface reflected the light of a distant star. It couldn't be natural. The mining crew moved closer. Dust and frozen debris covered an enormous object buried inside the rock. At first, it looked like part of an ancient station. Then the scanners completed their analysis. Length, 32 kilometers. Material, unknown. Estimated age, over 20,000 years. Silence filled the bridge. The youngest engineer whispered, "Well, that's impossible. No ship survives that long." Within hours, news reached the Galactic Exploration Authority. Scientists arrived first, then historians, then military fleets. Everyone wanted to see the impossible discovery. Hundreds of ships surrounded the asteroid. Massive mining lasers carefully removed thousands of tons of rock. Piece by piece, the object revealed itself. It wasn't a station. It wasn't a city. It was a battleship. Unlike any vessel ever built, its armor was smooth black metal covered in strange silver markings. Gigantic cannons stretched along both sides. Its engines alone were larger than modern cruisers. One historian slowly removed his glasses. "I've never seen this design." Another quietly answered, "Because no civilization in our records ever built anything like it." Deep inside the Galactic Museum, an elderly archivist compared the symbols carved into the hull. Hours later, he suddenly stood up. His hands were shaking. "No, it can't be." He opened a forgotten database that almost nobody remembered existed. The files were damaged. Most information had been lost long ago. Only one sentence remained readable. Project Titan. Species. Human. The archivist stared at the screen. Humans? A species almost everyone believed existed only in myths. Children grew up hearing stories about them. Brave, creative, completely unpredictable. But historians dismissed those stories as legends. Now, a 20,000-year-old human warship floated before the galaxy. The discovery spread like wildfire. Every news network carried the same headline: "Ancient human warship found." Crowds gathered in every major city. Some celebrated, others panicked. Military leaders weren't smiling. If humans truly built ships like this, how powerful had they been? 3 days later, the Galactic Council ordered an exploration mission. 20 of the best scientists entered the battleship through a breach in its damaged hull. Their footsteps echoed through endless corridors. Dust floated silently through the air. Nothing had moved for 20,000 years. Lights remained off. Doors stayed sealed. The ship felt dead. One scientist pointed toward enormous armored suits standing against the walls. Power armor, another scanned one. It's empty. The armor was nearly 4 meters tall. Each suit carried weapons larger than modern tanks. The youngest researcher swallowed nervously. If ordinary soldiers wore these, what did their commanders use? No one answered. Hours passed. The team reached what appeared to be the central command deck. Thousands of dark holographic screens surrounded a gigantic captain's chair. Everything remained silent. Then, one scientist accidentally placed his hand on a strange metal console. A tiny blue light appeared. The room froze. Another light activated. Then another. Then hundreds. Electricity surged through ancient walls. A deep metallic sound echoed across the ship. Power restoration. 100%. The scientists looked at each other. No, we didn't activate anything. The ship had activated itself. Outside, the enormous vessel slowly came alive. Its engines released faint blue light for the first time in 20,000 years. Every nearby fleet immediately backed away. One military commander shouted, "Move every ship! It's powering up!" Across the hull, thousands of tiny lights illuminated simultaneously. Ancient defense turrets rotated. Massive cannons slowly aimed toward space. Inside the command deck, a calm artificial voice echoed through every corridor. Emergency protocol active. Scanning surrounding civilizations. The scientists stood perfectly still. Nobody dared move. The AI continued. No human life detected. Several seconds passed. Then its tone changed. Almost sad. Humanity status. Processing. Processing. Extinct. Silence filled the bridge. Even the machine seemed to pause. Millions of kilometers away, the Galactic Council watched everything live. One council member whispered, "Turn it off." Another replied, "How?" No one knew. Inside the ship, the AI continued scanning every vessel surrounding it, one by one. It identified alien races. Unknown, unknown, unknown. Finally, the ancient intelligence spoke again. Civilizations unidentified. Threat level. Processing. Every warship around the asteroid armed its weapons. The AI's next words would decide the fate of the entire fleet. Undetermined. Then, the captain's chair slowly rotated. Hidden beneath layers of dust, a glowing human emblem appeared. Below it, only 4 words were engraved. Humanity never surrenders. At that exact moment, far below the command deck, something else activated. Not the engines, not the weapons. A cryogenic chamber. A heartbeat appeared on an ancient monitor. For the first time in 20,000 years, someone inside the battleship took a breath, a heartbeat, just one. Yet every scientist on the command deck heard it. A green light slowly appeared on one ancient medical monitor. The AI spoke calmly. Captain's life signs. Stable. The room froze. Captain Rylan stared at the hologram. "There's someone alive?" The AI answered. "Affirmative. Cryogenic Commander Ethan Graves." age at preservation, 34 years. Nobody moved. 20,000 years. And a human was still alive. Deep below the bridge, a massive cryogenic chamber hissed open. Cold vapor rolled across the floor. A man slowly stepped forward. He wore a dark gray military uniform marked with a silver eagle. His hair was slightly longer than military regulations allowed. His face showed no fear, only confusion. He looked around the silent chamber, then at the AI. Status report. The AI replied instantly, "Mission time elapsed. 20,116 years." Ethan didn't react. He simply closed his eyes. They never came back. The AI answered quietly, "No human signals have been detected." For the first time, the captain lowered his head. Humanity was gone. Meanwhile, outside the battleship, over 300 galactic Navy ships aimed their weapons at the ancient vessel. The Council refused to take any chances. Admiral Voran gave the order. If the ship activates its weapons, destroy it. One nervous officer whispered, "Sir, that's a 20,000-year-old human battleship." Voran looked at him. Exactly. Inside, Captain Ethan reached the bridge. 20 alien scientists instinctively stepped backward. Neither side spoke. They simply stared. Every history book claimed humans had disappeared forever. Yet here, a real human stood before them. Ethan finally broke the silence. "What year is it?" one scientist answered. "Galactic year 41,882. Ethan smiled sadly. "So I really slept through history." Suddenly, warning sirens echoed across the bridge. The AI announced, "Unknown weapons locked on this vessel." Outside, hundreds of alien cannons charged. Admiral Voran wasn't willing to risk waiting. Fire a warning shot. A single plasma beam raced toward the Titan. The AI didn't ask permission. It reacted automatically. One ancient defense turret rotated. A thin golden beam flashed. The plasma blast disappeared, not exploded, not blocked. Erased. Every scanner on every alien ship failed to explain what had happened. Captain Ryland whispered, Did it destroy the energy itself?" The bridge became silent. Captain Ethan sighed. "I told them they'd panic." He slowly walked toward the captain's chair. The moment he sat down, the entire ship awakened. Thousands of holograms filled the bridge. Ancient maps appeared. Weapons powered online. Engine status, 100%. Shield status, 100%. Combat AI, online. Outside, the battleship's blue engines ignited like miniature suns. The asteroid cracked apart. For the first time in 20,000 years, the Titan moved across the galaxy. Millions watched live. News anchors stopped speaking. No script could prepare them for this. Children watched in amazement. Historians cried. Military commanders silently calculated how impossible this ship truly was. Admiral Voran refused to retreat. All fleets, attack! 300 warships fired together. Space disappeared beneath endless explosions. When the smoke cleared, the Titan remained untouched. Not a single scratch marked its armor. Captain Ethan looked at the tactical screen. "They're afraid," the AI replied. "They believe you are preparing for war." He quietly answered, "No, I'm trying to prevent one." Instead of firing, the Titan broadcast a message. Every ship, every planet, every communication network received it. Captain Ethan appeared on billions of screens. "My name is Ethan Graves. I am a captain of humanity. I don't know who you are. I don't know what happened while I slept. But if humanity truly disappeared, then I refuse to let another civilization repeat our mistakes." Silence spread across the galaxy. No threats, no demands, no declaration of war, only peace. Admiral Voran slowly lowered his weapon. For the first time, he saw not an enemy, but a survivor. One officer quietly asked, "Sir, what do we do now?" The admiral stared at the ancient battleship, then slowly answered, "We listen." Weeks passed. Captain Ethan shared humanity's history with the Galactic Council. He explained their discoveries, their failures, their sacrifices. Most importantly, he revealed why the Titan had survived. It had never been built to conquer galaxies. It had been built to preserve humanity's knowledge if civilization ever fell. Inside the Titan were libraries, medical discoveries, engineering breakthroughs, art, music, languages, everything humanity had ever achieved. Not a weapon, a legacy. Scientists spent months studying the ship. They expected to find unstoppable superweapons. Instead, they found classrooms, gardens, museums, entire cities preserved inside the battleship. Humanity's greatest creation wasn't destruction, it was hope. One day, Captain Ethan stood beside the observation window. Captain Ryland joined him. "Will you rebuild humanity?" Ethan looked at the stars. "No." Ryland looked surprised. "No?" Ethan smiled. "Humanity isn't alive because humans exist. It's alive whenever someone chooses courage over fear." He looked toward hundreds of alien ships flying peacefully beside the Titan. Maybe humanity doesn't need to return. Maybe its ideas already have. Years later, the Titan became the center of the Galactic Academy. Students from hundreds of species came to learn about the civilization that refused to surrender, even after 20,000 years. At the entrance, a simple message welcomed every visitor. Strength builds empires. Hope builds civilizations. And beneath it, the words that had survived 20,000 years. Humanity never surrenders.